So once this is in, we've done this whole process. Next step is incubation. And what's happening in incubation is the mycelium is growing out into the log, right? So we don't just put this spawn in and it hangs out there and that fruit's a mushroom. The mycelium grows out and eats this log, right? It's growing through the whole thing, and it makes like a one shiitake colony, right? All these dots have mycelium growing out, and they fuse together, right? These are like, these are they're the same organisms, so they just fuse together, and then you have this log that's all shiitake everywhere, and then it fruits the mushrooms, okay? And it'll fruit all over the place. It won't just fruit out of those little holes. It'll fruit all over the bark and everywhere.
And you can see the mycelium on the outside of the log, or is it all happening underneath?
You can't see the mycelium on the outside of the log. Yeah, this is one of the really like funny things about this is like, man, go through all this work, do all this process, and then it's just like, okay, like, yeah, is it in there? Is it doing anything? Like, hello, what's up, mycelium? And you don't really know until it starts making mushrooms.
When it says wait 8 to 10 weeks and repeat on the same log, or?
Nope, this is fruiting. Let's not go there yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. Good question. During this process, it's really important to keep the log in the shade and off the ground. So you can lean it up like, you could lean it up like this. If this is like a log and this is a log, you could just put it like that on the ground and have it so just like one end is touching it a little bit. You can
Up on top of the podium, maybe?
up on top of the podium. Yeah, I mean you can lean it so one end is off of the ground and one end is on the ground, right? We can. Yep. You don't want to go too high off of the ground, so you could do something like that, or you can just put it on a pallet and do what's called crib stacking. So you put 3 or 4 logs that way, then 3 or 4 logs this way, 3 or 4 logs this way, and just keep going. Ideally, it's best not to go above like hip height, because as you go further and further away from the ground, wind increases, humidity decreases, loss of water. Yeah?
I read the Cornell pamphlet and stuff, and they really stress putting it in under conifers, but you
Yeah.
don't have that, like a shade log or more permanent structure. Is that, like, obviously you're not getting the water, the natural rain, but is there any other, like, reason that you wouldn't use shade log? As opposed to, like, finding, somewhere we can put it under.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the ideal is putting it under a conifer so that you have year-round shade, right? With the broad leaves, you have almost 6 months where you don't have shade. Alternatives are like north side of a building or house, or using shade cloth. So if you use like a 60% shade cloth, shade cloth is porous, so it lets the rainwater through. If it's inside, or if you put a tarp over it or something, it's not going to get water from the rainfall. So you need to manage the water in some way. I would recommend trying to figure out a way to keep it outside, exposed to the rainfall and in the shade. If it's not, I would say just soak it like once a month. Soak it in the water for about 12 hours once a month, and that should keep the humidity up at the right
Any concern with freezing?
point.
Snow?
Nope, no concern with freezing or snow once it's established. So this whole process usually is done in like late March, April, beginning of May. That's when it's like most common. Oh, it's almost late March, how nice. But again, same thing, that's like the recommended. You can do it outside of that time period.
If it's in that shape, the one way and then the other, can you
Yeah.
harvest them? Or you have to
No.
take them off?
Yeah, a lot of times you take them off to fruit and then put them back.